Slava Ukraini. It's my second video. I'm still trying to get through it. My bandwidth is really bad because I don't have infrastructure here 50 miles north of Wisconsin and Madison. So I'm going to try to get through this. If I lose video and you see my picture, I'm just going to get through it because I got to just say what I got to say. So this is a picture over my shoulder here of our 41st president, George Herbert Walker Bush, at the site of Babyn Yar in 1991. For folks who don't know, Babyn Yar was a Holocaust museum for memorializing the lives of Jewish Ukrainians who were exterminated by Nazis before they were exterminated by Vladimir Putin. So just like I read what I wrote, because I have to write down my thoughts and then read them, so I remember to say what I think. I'm going to read you an article from Smithsonian magazine about what happened there. If you have kids, I set this up channel, I guess, up, so it's not for kids. I don't know if that worked or not because I'm still trying to figure out the YouTube thing, but I'm not too worried about it. I'll get this out there somewhere. I'm going to read from that article. It's kind of hard to read. Not everybody's going to want to hear it, but everybody should listen. On Friday, September 26, 1941, when the Germans occupied Kiev, announcements printed in Russian, Ukrainian, and German began to appear on lampposts and walls around the city, ordering all Jews to assemble Monday at 8 a.m. near the site of a Jewish cemetery. That morning, the day before the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur was set to begin, over 33,000 people gathered, mostly women, children, and the elderly, as the Soviet government had already mobilized men capable of fighting into the Red Army. You know, so we could fight the Nazis together with the Soviets and the Ukrainian people. The multitude was marched under guard through the barbed wire enclosures leading into Babyn Yar. Yar means ravine in Russian and Ukrainian. The site is actually a system of ravines with estuaries that once fed into the tributary of the Dnieper River, leaving steep troughs and inland fields. It's a scenic location, site crowded with weekends, the site crowded on weekends with picnickers and soccer players. As the assembled Jews entered the ravine that day on 1941, German SS units, together with Ukrainian prisoners recruited from a nearby prison of war camp to serve the Nazis as local police, robbed them of their money, possessions, and documents. They made the Jews wait in a meadow, from where, behind a mound of earth, they could hear the relentless sound of machine gun fire. Over the next 36 hours, the Germans took small groups of Jews, stripped them naked, and murdered them. The post-war trial records give a sense of what occurred. The victims were, I'm going to read this again, hard to listen to. Listen. The victims were made to lie face down on the bloody corpses of victims who had already been shot. If they did not do this willingly, they were beaten and knocked down. Then the gunners climbed over the wobbly mounds towards the victims and shot them in the back of the neck. According to an operational situational report the Germans had sent back to Berlin, they shot a total of 33,371 Jews. Over the next 2 years, the Germans would continue to use the site as a killing ground, murdering another 70,000 individuals, including Romani people, psychiatric patients, prisoners of war, and other civilians, before the Red Army liberated the city in November 1943. The Germans were the first to try to silence the memory of the crimes committed at the site. In August 1943, fearful of the approaching Red Army, they forced prisoners from the nearby Sirets concentration camp to dig up and burn remains from the site. The Soviet government, too, attempted to conceal what had taken place at the site in 1961, around the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? They tried to fill in the ravine, unintentionally setting off a mudslide that killed at least 145 people. But Yushchenko's poem, published the same year, gave voice to the victims on the grounds. In 1962, Russian composer Dmitri Shostakovich dedicated his 13th symphony to Babyn Yar, further amplifying the memory of the crimes that had been taken place there. You can look it up, read the whole story. Just Google Smithsonian article on Babyn Yar. I watched Dr. Zakariya interview President Zelensky and asked him about this question. What do you think about people who say there are neo-Nazis in the nation of Ukraine? I can't remember what President Zelensky said, but I remember the look that came over his face. I also have read some people that say they support the no-fly zone. I do not support the no-fly zone. I support NATO owning the skies over Ukraine and blowing Russian aircraft out of the sky. And if that means no-fly zone, let's keep it to the Russians and not let them fly anymore. I'm C. Thomas Lane, patriot citizen, United States of America. Thanks for listening.